convoy. It started in Canada's capital city of Ottawa. For days, truckers have been camped outside Parliament and the Prime Minister's home, while others block key access points to the United States near Detroit and as far west as the border crossing into Montana. CNN's Paula Newton joins us now live from Ottawa. And Paula, parts of Canada are talking about rolling back their vaccine mandates. Saskatchewan, for example. Is this welcome news to these protesters? Can they take any credit for it?
I mean, look, it's more than Saskatchewan. It's Alberta. It's Quebec. This is happening because the Omicron wave is peaking, and these provincial leaders have always said, look, when we can, we'll roll them back. Is it satisfying the truckers? Absolutely not. I mean, what's happened here, Jake, is they are looking for so much more than that. They don't want these leaders to even return to any restrictions, no matter what happens with COVID. Let me give you a little tour while we're here, though, Jake. I mean, as you said, we're in front of Parliament, right? That is Parliament right there. And here, it looks more like a tailgate party now going into its second week. They tell us they have no intention of moving. What's been incredible to me is if you look over here, Jake, that's the Prime Minister's office. They've been parked right outside the Prime Minister's office now for, as I said, the better part of 2 weeks. What is happening now, though, is that politicians are starting to get together, seeing what they can do. And the fear that I have heard from regular, everyday people, not just in this city, Jake, but just around Canada, saying if this is the kind of civil disobedience, that is tolerated, they fear for what can happen next. And that, that fear is real. I mean, consider what happened in Toronto in the last few hours. Police say on social media they heard rumors that another protest might pop up, and they had to go to really seal off the provincial legislature there. This is escalating almost by the hour, Jake.
All right, Paula Newton in Ottawa, thank you so much. Then there is, of course, the false information surrounding these protests. Let's bring in CNN's Daniel Dale, who, in addition to being our resident fact-checker, also hails from the Great White North. Good to see you, Daniel. Let's start with some of the images that we've seen shared on social media, these large crowds. Are they from these protests?
Yeah, so Jake, there are a ton of photos and videos going around Twitter, Facebook, and so on that are captioned as if they are from Ottawa or about people in support of what's going on in Ottawa, but that are from entirely different events from entirely different years. So there's one that's going around purporting to be a huge crowd in Ottawa. It's actually from Moscow in 1991, a giant anti-communist demonstration. There's another photo that's going around on Facebook purporting to be a group of Amish people supporting this current protest convoy. It's actually a photo of a group of Mennonites simply going to church. There is an image that was posted by Tesla chief executive Elon Musk, who didn't make an explicit claim, but given the context, a lot of people thought this aerial shot was a shot of the current Canadian protest convoy. Well, it is a Canadian convoy, but from 2018, a truck convoy in support of the oil and gas industry. Tesla, of course, makes electric vehicles.
And you ran down a claim by a man who says he's one of the protest organizers, who said that half of the police in Ottawa had resigned during these protests. What about that?
That claim is completely imaginary. Ottawa police say they've had 0 resignations, none at all in connection to this protest. And this protest organizer, as well as other organizers, have a history of making things up, of making completely false claims, but that hasn't stopped them from going viral. This one made its way to Twitter, where a British actor got 11,000 retweets repeating it. And this protest organizer and others have made claims like 50,000 trucks were involved in this convoy. That 50,000 number was not even close to true. Canadian journalists put the number somewhere in the hundreds of trucks. But this claim was repeated on Fox News by former Canadian hockey star Theo Fleury. It was repeated on Joe Rogan's podcast. So a lot of nonsense coming from the protest organizers that are being repeated elsewhere.
It's a successful protest. They don't need to lie about it. They've already achieved what they want to achieve. You also looked in some claims that the Canadian government is instructing hotels to not give rooms or reservations to protesters. Any truth to that?
There's no truth to that. I contacted the specific hotel that was mentioned in this tweet, as well as 5 other Ottawa hotels. They said complete nonsense, did not happen. Canadian government says ridiculous. The Ottawa government says ridiculous. Now, I contacted the National Post newspaper columnist in Canada who promoted this claim on Twitter. She said she didn't even know it was true. It was just something she had been hearing from the protesters, and she put it out there on Twitter so the mainstream Canadian media could vet its accuracy. I need to respectfully suggest as a fact checker, if you don't know as a journalist if something is true, don't just throw it out there and say, I'm just asking questions. It is incumbent upon all of us to vet the accuracy ourselves before promoting it on social media.
Daniel Dale, thank you so much. Good to see you, my Canadian friend.
Thank you, sir.
It could be